Now, IHS and telco MTN recently reached an outsourcing agreement in principle to transfer MTN's 9,151 mobile network towers in Nigeria to IHS. Isam Darwish, CEO of IHS Group, joins me in the studio to unpack this deal. Thank you so much, Isam.
Thank you, Esther.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Same here.
Now, let's talk about this deal in detail. It's 9,100, that's almost 10,000 towers that you want to acquire. Now, of course, we know that IHS already has a couple of other towers that you own and manage across the African continent. Tell us how this project is going to be funded.
Well, we have, as you may know, we have a very diverse shareholding base. Our shareholders are large private equity funds, international finance development institutions. So we have the likes of Goldman Sachs, Vandel, IFC, ECP, FMO, Investec, Asset Management. So we have a very strong, diverse shareholding base. We also have very strong relationships with almost every debt provider on the continent. So the deals will be funded through a mix of equity from our shareholding base, plus potentially some new investors, plus of course extending some debt. Okay,
so getting the money on the table, that's not a problem right now for IHS.
I would say at the right time I'll come back to you. We'll make the right announcement, but it's as good as done.
Okay, now we also know that the towers will be transferred to a new company which will be jointly owned by MTN and IHS. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, so look, we've always been a champion of total independence. So every deal we've done on the continent has always been acquiring 100% of the towers. So we've never done a partnership with a mobile operator. We thought it's more independent, it's more neutral. This is the first time this gets done in Nigeria, and I think it has to do with the size of the MTN portfolio in Nigeria. It's so strategic for the MTN group. It's so valuable in a sense. It is the largest tower portfolio in Africa. MTN Nigeria is almost half of MTN group worldwide group revenue or profit, I would guess. So it's so strategic. So we decided to engage in this kind of partnership, but the portfolio will be run by us. We have total operational control. It will be run as an independent portfolio. There will be no issue.
Now, with this deal, which you say has been clinched already, that should bring your the number of towers that you manage to around around 20,000.
20,000.
They're currently about
13 or 14,000 of those in Nigeria.
In Nigeria, okay, in Nigeria, and on the African continent, there are about 180,000 of them, almost 200,000. Yes. So, I mean, it just begs the question: how much more is IHS looking to acquire? Looking at the total size, the number in Africa.
Yes. So with this current acquisitions, Etisalat and MTN, we've also announced Etisalat in Nigeria. We're very proud of that. So between Etisalat and Nigeria and MTN in Nigeria, we almost double our portfolio size this year. The plan is to probably put in another maybe 5,000 by end of next year through mostly organic growth. So we want to build sites. You acquire these portfolios, but we still have to build in Nigeria. We still want to build in Cameroon, want to build in Zambia, want to build in Cote d'Ivoire. So through that, we'll probably get to 25,000 by end of next year. The 180,000 or 200,000 towers you're talking about in Africa are distributed in 54 countries. So Africa is not one country, right? So we need to look at it per country. We need to look at it per opportunity. We need to look at it per operator. For now, we're going to focus on making sure that we integrate the MTN and Etisalat portfolio into us in Nigeria, make sure we improve uptime, we create the employment jobs that we need to create, and then we train the right people, get it done properly, and then we can assess other opportunities.
No, I suppose with this deal with MTN, Etisalat, I suppose other Nigerian telcos will also look to just let go of their towers. Do you see that happen? How soon do you see that happening? And how does that change the space for them now that they no longer have to worry about maintaining and running the space stations?
Look, in Nigeria we have today around 25, I would say 27,000 towers, something like this. The two transactions we've just done represent half of the number of towers in Nigeria. So the trend is definitely going there. So I see that happening with almost everyone. The timing has to do with their current situation. Where are they? The other guys who have not done it. Where are they vis-a-vis their shareholders, vis-a-vis their cash requirements, their growth plans, things like that. But from a fundamentals point of view, it has to happen. It does not make sense for operators who are focused on creating packages for data growth, cutting down pricing, you know, focusing on branding, to be managing towers with diesel and security, and it just doesn't make sense. They are two different businesses.
But those are issues you are now going to start having to deal with: diesel, securities, multiple taxation,
Happily,
dealing with the local government and all of that. So what are you looking forward to it?
I have to say I am looking forward to it. This is the fun part of what we do. I'm an engineer. Almost everyone around me is an engineer. That's how we started. Remember, we started in Nigeria in 2001. We've lived here since the 90s. So we've seen how this thing has moved, has grown, has exploded. We used to build sites. In 2001, between 2001 and 5, we built like 2,000 plus sites. Then we maintained sites. So that is our core. That's what we do. Yes, it is challenging. Managing the diesel, how do you make sure you buy the good quality diesel? How do you make sure it gets delivered to the site? How do you make sure it really goes into the generator?
Vandalism of the masts and cables and all of that.
Yes, how do you interact with the local environment? How do you handle security vis-a-vis that? So yes, they're all challenging, but this is the fun part. If you understand the environment, if you work with people who are smart enough, if we have trained people over time that can undertake these challenges, this becomes the challenging part, the fun part of the challenge. So
okay,
really like it.
Well, you'll be managing the stations for them, and of course, I suppose they're also looking forward to improved services to the end customer at the end of the day. So you make them look good at the end of the day.
It's a condition of the deal. The key part, the heart of the transaction is we'll sell our towers to you, but you're the expert, you're the engineer, you need to find a solution for the power supply, you need to find a solution for the security, you have to improve the uptime. It's a matter of time, but it's a condition of the deal. It's not an option. We have to improve the performance on these towers, and it's a commitment we're making to the public now.
You're guaranteeing this telcos that, because you know that, you know, from time to time they're consistently fined by the NCC, the regulator here, in thousands and thousands of dollars almost every year. So are you saying that we might see a significant reduction of that, or perhaps, you know, that eliminated?
We have to. It's just a matter of time. It's not going to happen overnight, right?
Okay.
You can't change or improve 9,000 different locations in Nigeria overnight. It just doesn't happen overnight, right? It will take some time, probably a year, two, maybe even more, but it's gradual transformation, but it has to happen, and it's part of the transaction.
Is that going to happen across the African continent for those of them that, you know, they have footprints all over?
Every tower we buy or we own has a different and improved power system. So every tower we own or we buy from an operator, whether it is, you know, we bought towers from MTN in Cameroon and Cote d'Ivoire. We bought towers from France Telecom, Orange in Cameroon also, and the others. So every tower we buy, we scrap the power supply that is there. We install new, much more advanced one that is studied by our engineer, whether it's a DC generator or it's a solar kind of panel, to improve uptime. We install our own network operating system to monitor what is happening on the site. Is this site being taken care of? Is it being subject to vandalism? What is happening with the environment? So we do that, right? And that improves the performance. So we do it not only here, everywhere.
Well, I suppose the telcos are heaving a sigh of relief right now. But then we'll also be keeping an eye on this, see how you run those towers for them, and see if there will be significant improvement. Thank you so much, Issam.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure having you. That was Issam Darwish, CEO of IHS.